Hey guys, today we're talking Come and See, the great Russian war film, World War II. For my money, the greatest war film ever made, definitely in my top 10. It is a bona fide masterpiece in every way. It's a brilliant film. It's just highly disturbing. It portrays war in a way that you don't often see in a very realistic sense. Does things that no other war film has done prior or since, frankly. Kind of important to talk about a little bit of political context. It takes place during World War II in Belarus, which is an area that's kind of right on the border with Eastern Europe, with Poland and so forth. So when Nazi Germany invades Russia, in 41, they occupy Belarus almost the entire war. Okay. Now, if you ask the average U.S. citizen on the street who won World War II, the answer you're most likely to get is the United States. With its 345,000 KIA killed in action, right? Let's round it off to 350, right? You know how many Soviet troops were killed in World War II? Take a guess, right? How about 9 million? 9 million, 30 million Russian citizens in total. 9 million troops. We just commemorated D-Day, right? June 6, 1944. Today I'm taping this. It's a week later, basically. It's the 14th of June. The Eastern Front had 20 D-Days. Are you kidding me? Stalingrad and Leningrad, these things lasted over a year. Kursk, the largest tank battle in the history of warfare. I mean, it's staggering. Even a film like Hogan, or a TV show, Hogan's Heroes, Schultz, I see nothing, I know nothing. He was always terrified of going to the Eastern Front. That was always a threat. I'll send you to the Eastern Front. Well, yeah, there's a reason he should have been terrified, right? It's a bloodbath, right? And so clearly the Soviet Union, the Russians, had really a very large hand in winning World War II. And I think that's really important. And having said that, though, that's not mean that I'm, a useful idiot for Putin. These are two different things. Always beware of a guy whose first action when he takes control is to blow up an apartment building in Moscow and blame it on the Chechen rebels. That's as much as I love Oliver Stone. It's just like, dude, really? I don't know. That's kind of a separate thing, but it is important to understand the political context because we really should have a better relationship with Russia than we do, but we don't for a number of reasons I'm not going to get into here. But it's important to understand some of that context to think about this film in particular. Again, it focuses on Belarus and primarily one young boy who's about 13 or 14. Now, what is so brilliant about this film is, we know about, the big, huge battles, the D-Days, North Africa or, Battle of the Bulge or whatever on the Eastern Front or in the Pacific. We know all these things. But this is about kind of the day-to-day fighting. These partisans behind, because technically they're behind enemy lines, they're occupied by Germany, Belarus is. So these bands and you can see how, this director, Ilham Kimov, I'll get that pronunciation correct, but you can see how he was able to get this past the Russian censors because it's very much the people rising up. These were bands of partisans who form guerrilla groups and fight the Germans behind the lines, and they recruit this young man, and the entire film is kind of shown through his eyes, and it has some of the most spectacular scenes ever committed to film about combat. They're very simple. They're not huge set pieces, but again, that's what makes it so brilliant. One scene in particular that really just pops is there's a scene where they're out kind of in in a field. You know, it's at dusk. It's maybe there's kind of a little fog rolling in, and there are several cows at pasture, and they're ambushed. You know, the German Mauser thing. You know, the MG 42, whatever it is, the machine gun. It's just lethal. Is firing off rounds. Now, in reality, they actually fired live rounds with the tracers, and that's the first thing you notice. Not a lot of war films were shot unless they used real footage. You didn't see a lot of war films that actually used tracers, right? Because they were live rounds, you know. And you're just like blown away. But also, it's that thing where combat can be both terrifying, you know, terrifying and beautiful. It's right at sunset. The sun's hitting just right. The tracers are going over. It's an unbelievable scene. It's, you know, again, it's like, you know, as they say about, it's horrific and beautiful at the same time. It's kind of a metaphor for, you know, the film itself in many ways. There's many scenes like it, but that one really stuck out for me. And of course, one of the cows gets killed, and he's hiding behind the dead cow, and it's just not something you think of when you think of a war picture like that. You know, it's just so powerful in that sense to me. You know, we'll continue.